The meeting. It's 4 o'clock. We're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance, and then after that, you'll please remain standing for our departed. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence for our dead and departed. Okay, thank you. Thank you all for coming. Before I start with the contract MOUs, we're going to go down the list. I need to say a couple of things that I did on the morning meeting as well. One, be mindful we're all here to ask questions about the contract, to make an honest vote to do what you feel you need to do. So be mindful of others. When you're at the microphone, ask one question, two questions, but there's other people that need to ask questions as well. We're not here to address grievances, discipline, AVAs, that stuff. That does not get done in this meeting. This meeting is strictly contract talks, okay? So having said that, I would appreciate if you please be courteous to your fellow brother and sister, all right? I'm going to say a few things here that I wasn't able to say when I was doing my contract updates every couple of months. When we were doing the contract updates, we could not explain in the videos what was going on at the bargaining table and what was being negotiated. There was two reasons for that. One reason, if I said we were possibly going to get this or get that, or possibly not get this or that, that would not have been fair, because like anything else, you say something and then it gets distorted out in the field. Oh, Karubi said we were getting that. We didn't get it. So we couldn't do that, one, because we didn't really have a solid, concrete agreement. But the other thing was our Constitution and the union, all bylaws. I'm not supposed to let the membership know about a contract before I let the executive board know. The executive board is the governing body. They're the people, the elected members, that give me permission to send it out to you for ratification. That's why we're here today. So forgive me, because the question came up this morning about my update videos, and I explained why we can't give certain information. What I try to do, is to at least let you know we're still negotiating and we're close. Just give us a little bit more time. I know it wasn't a whole bunch of information, but it was the best we could do at the time, okay? And that's not going to change. Next time we go for contract, it'll be the same thing. I will do contract updates. Hopefully we don't have to go this long, and I will explain the same thing. And I'm sure some members will be mad and pissed off at me and say, why ain't he telling us anything? Well, I can't. So please be understanding of that. Another thing I'm going to touch on is how contract negotiations is done. There's a misconception that members think that we go in there and we say, here's our 100 items. This is what we want. And transit looks and says, hey, oh, you got 100 items here. Well, we'll be willing to give you 50 of those 100 items. That's not the case. That is completely false. It's not how it works. I wish it did. We'd be going through contracts left and right if that's how it worked. What happens is, okay, I'm sure you all heard about pattern bargaining, and I'm sure some of you are going to get up there at the mic tonight and hammer me on that, or talk to me about that, or ask questions about that. But there is pattern bargaining, right? This contract, let me be clear, this contract was a pre-COVID pattern bargain contract. COVID, okay? Next year's contract is a post-COVID contract, okay? What does that mean? That means that next year's contract, we can officially discuss hazard pay, cost of living, other things that affected our membership during the COVID pandemic, okay? This contract started with TW in 2019. We expired in 2020. We went to the table in 2020, negotiated for about 3 or 4 sessions, and COVID took control of our country, and everything was stopped. So how this works is, there's a budget, or you could call it a pool of money, that is allocated under pattern bargaining for each and every contract. We were allocated $5,178,000. Now, to each and every one of us, $5 million in our bank account would look beautiful. But when you're negotiating a contract for 4,100 members, a 48-month contract for 4,100 members, $5,178,000 doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. But that was the pot that they gave us. That's the budget that they can afford to give us. And how is that number assessed? That number is assessed by TWU Local 100. It's under pattern bargaining. We get a 1% value, that's what it's called. It's a 1% value of what TWU gets, their overall number that they're given as a pot, and we get 1% of that because of the body that we have. 4,100 members, they got 42,000 members. So we have that amount of money to play with. No more, no less, all right? And out of that comes raises and increases and all that stuff. And you don't have to be a mathematician here to figure that out. $5 million ain't an awful lot of money, okay? So getting back to this pattern bargaining, it's been around over 70 years with us and TWU and all the locals on the property. TWU is the largest local on MTA property. The SSSA is the second largest in all MTA property. Now that doesn't say very much because we're number 2. We're number 2 and we only have 4,100 members. So imagine the other 32 locals, because there's about 34 of us on MTA property. The other 31, 32 locals are much smaller than us. Okay, that's why we are the number 2 largest. But TW is also 10 times our size. They are the pattern setting union. Just like the city of New York, you all read it, you all saw it, about the city PBA, the Police Benevolent Association, DC 37, with their contracts. The PBA, under the Uniform Coalition, which encompasses the sanitation officers, the police, the fire department, they're in a coalition. The PBA sets the pattern for all those other unions. That's how it works. They set the pattern. It's just the process. I did not create the process. I wasn't born when the process was here, when it was created, okay? And that's what we do. Does the process work? Well, the pattern bargaining has pros and it has cons, right? There was a couple of questions this morning. Well, what are the pros? Well, the pros are, if TW gets 3 4s or 3 3s, well, when we go in, we're pretty much guaranteed that, right? We don't have to start from 0 to get to 3. So that could be a pro, right? The con on it is that we probably can't get more than that, right? So there's a con. So what this union does, like all the other smaller unions, because the smaller unions look at what SSSA gets then, because they want to follow what we get. And that's how it goes down the pecking order, okay? And again, I did not create that pecking order, okay? So we go in, we get the pattern raises, and then how do I deviate from the pattern, from TW? we try to get other things for our members in the departments or in the sections. Now, we have 17 sections in this union, 17 in 5 different departments. And I've always said it from day one when I became president. It's impossible to get all 17 sections something specific. It's impossible. And any president that comes up here and tells you that they can, they're full of baloney, right? That's impossible to do. And let me explain why that's impossible. One, there's not enough money to do that. Two, you're dealing with all types of management at different levels of management. You're dealing with chiefs, deputy chiefs, vice presidents, depending on what department you come from. AGMs in the bus divisions, GSs in the bus departments, GMs in the bus. So when you go to the table, you're dealing with the mid-level supervisor, the mid-level manager. And you might be able to get a deputy chief to listen to some reason why he may feel that you do deserve something in that specific section. So you feel good about it. You say, wow, I got him on my side. We're going to get this for the members. Then he talks to his chief. And his chief says, no way, we can't afford to do that. So he shot us in the hip. But if the chief agrees and says, you know what, we could probably do that, you pump up even more. Wow, we're getting this. Then it goes to the vice president of the department. Vice president turns to us, no way. There's no way we're doing that. We ain't giving them this. We give them this, we got to give everybody this. Plus it costs too much money. Now you're shot in the foot. But if you're able to get the vice president and all his or her underlings to agree that maybe you should get this, you still got to deal with the senior vice president of the Department of Subways or the vice president, the senior vice president of buses. Okay? And you got to get them to agree. And if they agree, then you have to get the head of labor relations to agree. So you see all the moving parts in this process. It's not you don't go in and negotiate with one person and that person makes a decision there. It's all different steps in the chain. And every time you go through a step, you go to one more, and you go to one more, and you go to one more. And then you get bounced back a couple. And then you come back, another negotiating meeting, you try to fight again. And you try a different approach on how to get it for your membership. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And then sometimes what happens is you're able to get everybody from the top on down to agree that, yeah, we're willing to give that. But we'll agree to it tentatively, but we have to do the final costing out numbers. That could take a month. That could take 2 months. Now you're sitting back and you're waiting. And the numbers come back and the cost is too high. So all 6 months of you busting your butt, trying to get these people to convince them that you deserve, your membership deserves this, they've all agreed, but then the numbers don't agree with it. So that's just a touch of what really goes on, okay? And that's what we were faced here. We were faced with a lot of that crap. Now, we did ask for hazard pay and COLA pay, and of course I knew it wasn't going to be in this contract, but I asked for it. And they said, no, this has nothing to do with COVID right now. Your pattern, pre-COVID, which we were. But I knew that, but I took a shot. And I said, okay, we'll deal with what we have at hand. And that's what we did, okay? So having said that, I'm going to start going through the MOU that we have, the tentative MOU. But one more thing. I just want to say, if this contract today and tomorrow is not ratified, that means voted on by yes, unanimous vote, majority vote of yes, we will be faced with going to arbitration. Now, I watch Facebook. I don't respond, but we do watch it. My team watches it because it's the members are on there and the members are saying things, and we don't want misinformation to get out there. Let me tell you something. You don't want to be in arbitration. That's not the place for us to be. Why? Because everything that we negotiated, whether you like what we negotiated or you don't like what we negotiated, whether you're disgruntled because maybe your section didn't get something, but some other section did. Every single thing is on the table that is negotiated. And what ends up happening is you have a third-party person, which is the arbitrator, who never worked here, doesn't understand our job, nor does he or she care. They're getting paid. They get paid from us, and they get paid from the Transit Authority at contract impasse arbitration. And boy, do they get paid. For us to go to arbitration would probably cost us $30,000, and that's probably a low number. And it's going to take about a year and a half before we go to any kind of hearing. And then it's a long, drawn-out process after that. And the end result is case law, and this is Howard Ween here. But by the way, forgive me, I didn't say who was up at the panel. That's Willie Torres, financial treasurer. Howard Ween is the chief counsel of the SSSA. John DeLiso is the executive vice president. And Thomas Taco is the recording secretary. Forgive me, that was my mistake, guys. The attorney will tell you straight up how much case law is on unions that went to arbitration with their contracts. And the majority of them were awarded under pattern bargaining. So you wasted tons of money, tons of time, a lot of aggravation to get what you originally would have gotten. And that's a maybe. Because there are some cases where you go to arbitration and the company, which would be the MTA, comes in and says, well, being everything's on the table, we decided we can't afford to do that sick leave cash out. Or we can't afford to give this one a bump up. Or we can't afford to do that. We want to take that off the table now. We got to fight that and say, whoa, Mr. Arbitrator, wait a minute here. We talked about, we negotiated this. Well, it's all open game. And then you got to pray when he makes his decision that you're going to at least get the same thing that you agreed to, but it could be less. So arbitration is not somewhere we want to be. And, but I serve the membership, and the membership has a right to vote. You have a right to vote yes, you have a right to vote no. If you say no, there's no going back to the table. It's going right to arbitration. And that'll be about a year and a half away, which we have another contract to be negotiated next year anyway, right? So we will surpass that, all right, and get what we get now, next year, a year and a half, well, how long it takes. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm not saying it to scare anybody in the room, because I don't do things like that. You're going to vote the way you feel you want to vote, and that's what I would ask you to do, okay? But I want you to also understand the situation we're in. This is not a COVID contract. This is not a COVID contract. This is a pre-COVID contract, okay? Next year's contract, listen to me. You can come here at the next mass membership meeting next year, and you could bash my brains in, because that would be a COVID contract, a post-COVID contract, okay? But this one is not. There's no money in this for that type of stuff, all right? So now, having said that, I'm going to move forward with the MOU. Most of you have it, or you should have it in front of you, or if you brought it, there's some outside in the boxes. I think we have, I'm just going to go down, and I'll explain as I'm going down. So if I could prevent some questions and answer some questions that you may be having or want to ask, maybe I can address them like I did in the morning meeting. All right. The contract is going to run for 48 months, from August 1st, 2020 to July 31st, 2024. The raises are right in front of you, 2%, 2.25, 2.50, and 2.75 for a total of 9.50%. Longevity is going to be increased by $100 per step, from $550 to $650 to $750 to $850. So each step is going to go up by one, okay? The maintenance bonus, for those departments that don't know what a maintenance bonus is, that's a bonus that car equipment and maintenance away get, and bus maintenance get it. They've been getting it for a lot of years, and every contract we keep up in that ante, every contract. So they're going to go from $650 to $800. They got an increase of $150 per member per year. Below that is transportation bonus. Now, like I said this morning, we saw on Facebook that people were saying, oh, that's an easy pass. That's not an easy pass. If it was an easy pass, it would say easy pass. It's a transportation bonus. I come from RTO for 35 years. I'm an ATD, that's my title, okay? And we fought hard in RTO, and unfortunately they were pretty hard with us, right? And don't know why, I can speculate, but that's beside the point. We were trying to get posting training pay for RTO, which was not doable because the senior vice president felt that we don't train people. So in a negotiation meeting, excuse me, this pollen or whatever is killing me. In a negotiation meeting, I asked the senior vice president what he considered was a trainer in RTO. And I knew the answer, and he said, people in school car. So I said, well, I'm glad you said that, because now I'm going to ask you for something to that. If you consider those trainers, why wouldn't you even give them any money? And I put them on the carpet, and we assessed that value, and we got this number for them under the training program, and they refused to give us the posting pay for ATDs, TDs, and even TSSs, right, and yard masters. So the transportation bonus came about in my mind. Okay, how do I offset some of this, right? We have a maintenance bonus that maintenance away divisions get. If we do a transportation bonus, this could offset some of the training time, right? Because when you think about it, when you post out there, and forgive me, I didn't say this in the morning meeting, but when you post out there, most of the time the schedule is still the same, right? We all came out of school car as TDs, ATDs, TSSs, and we post on certain terminals or certain lines. And it's the senior person that always gets that student. So being that Transit wasn't willing to give me that for our people, because they said the cost was too high, I wheeled in a transportation bonus where everybody gets it, whether you train a student or not, right? And each contract that goes up, you know, we will negotiate to get more money. So it's $400 now, maybe $600 next year, and maybe $150 later on, and it'll keep going up and up and up, you know, as time goes on. And that's the offset to it. That's how I considered that. And then what I did with that was I wheeled the same thing that we were going to get in RTO into buses. So we call it the transportation bonus, because both departments are transportation, right? So that's what that clause means. Doesn't mean easy pass. Line of duty, active service death benefit. The active service death benefit shall be increased by $50,000, increased to $50,000. The line of duty death benefit shall be increased to $500,000, right? We did the $500,000 thing. We signed a stipulation during COVID when our members were dying, and that's where we got to that number. So we just carried that over into the contract. All right, Article 7, the health and welfare benefits. This was a big one. I'm going to start off by saying, and they don't have to raise your hand, I'm not asking you a question, I'm just going to say, how many members in the room that belong to Aetna medical coverage that fully understand what they really have, right? And like I said, I don't need to raise the hands. And when I ask that, I mean in the sense where, are you aware that right now, as you sit here, God forbid, if you should pass away today, tonight, tomorrow, your spouse or significant other will only get medical coverage for 1 year, and after the 1 year, he or she will get offered COBRA for $1,800 a month. And after that's done, after 18 months, she or he has absolutely zero medical coverage for the rest of their life. There's a lot of people that don't know that, okay? They don't know that. And that's a deal that TW Local 100 negotiated many years ago. And under pattern bargaining, our former presidents took that deal and they wheeled it into a 10-year time frame for all our new members. So every new member that got promoted, right, they would stay in the Aetna medical coverage for 10 years, then they would switch over to night ship. Now, back in 2000, night ship was the gold standard medical plan. It's a great plan, but it has changed over the last 23, 24 years. It's really not gold standard anymore. Still very good, but not gold standard anymore. The other problem with the health benefit that we currently have is that TW negotiates those benefits, and you're a SSSA member. You're not a TW Local 100 member, you're a SSSA member. But TW negotiates your benefits because you stay in the TW package for 10 years. But there's one more. When they negotiate your benefits, this union has no say-so on it. And if TW decides with the Transit Authority, we're getting rid of Aetna, we want Emblem, we want HIP, we want whatever, this union has nothing to say about it. We have no voting power, we have no advisory power. We're told, hey, TW negotiated getting rid of Aetna and they're going to take GHI. That's all the President's Union is told. That's what it is. And we have to deal with that. Well, you know what? I wouldn't want to be president of this union if that would continue. So I set out when I took over to stop all that. And under this new contract, that all stops. This health coverage stops. Not only does it stop, with this new plan, everybody coming on will stay in Aetna. You will have a lifetime spousal medical benefit for life. Not for one day, not for 1 year, not for 5 years, for life. If you died today, you all right? Thank you. Thank you. If you died today, your spouse gets the medical for life. If you retire, currently, under the current medical plan, if you retire and pass away, your spouse or significant other will keep their medical until Medicare age. Once he or she reaches Medicare age, the Aetna goes away and she or he stays in Medicare. Under the new contract here, that will not happen. You will stay with medical for life, retired or active. That is priceless. And guess what? When I talked earlier and I says, how do we small unions break the pattern? That's how we break the pattern. We are the first union with the TSO, with another supervisor union, to get that. TW right now is in negotiations with the authority, and they're asking for their members that died from COVID for the Transit Authority to give their spouses lifetime medical, just for the members that died from COVID. Why? Because they don't have this. Nor did we. And shame on the TW and shame on the former presidents of this union to do this. But we changed it. Now there's some options with this. Members that are in the Aetna plan currently, from beginning to 5 years, will not have an option to get out. They stay in Aetna. But they get all the new benefits. Any member that's in Aetna now, from 5 years to 10 years, they will get an option to stay with Aetna for life or switch to night ship. Or if you're in night ship and you want to switch your coverage to Aetna, you will get also that option at the same premium you're currently paying. Nothing changes. So if you're in night ship and you pay $6 and you decide you want to go to Aetna, you're still going to pay $6. Okay? If you're in Aetna and you pay 1.5 or you pay 2% and you switch to night ship, that's what you're going to pay. Okay? One-time option. That's it. The retirees that have already retired will stay with what they got. They can't switch anywhere. There's no option for them. They're already retired. It is what it is. Now, this morning I got a question on the Aetna high option rider. Okay? Excuse me. The high option rider was something TW put in place many years ago. And it encompasses dental, which TW already has dental. They have HealthPlex. And then under the high option rider, you get Emblem Dental. The plan really is not a great plan, right? You're paying for it. The member is paying for it. And it's really useless, okay? It may help one or two people. I don't know. Some members, a couple of members like it. But what happens is when you get promoted, when someone comes out of the TW or ATU unions and they come here as a supervisor, if you do not make a decision to eliminate your high option rider, you do not get our dental benefit. Our dental benefit is Cigna. It surpasses any other union's dental benefit. All right? We have unlimited things on that in the Cigna. We have implants, 100% paid, the whole 9 yards. TW, ATU don't have that. So these are the differences. So if you come here and you do not get rid of your high option rider, you do not get our dental. And if you retire with your high option rider, which goes away once you retire, you don't have any dental for life. But if you take our dental plan, you get dental and eyeglasses for the rest of your life, just as if you were an active member. So why wouldn't you do that? So how do we stop all this? So each class that comes in who gets promoted, I usually go into the induction classes and I give a quick speech. And every member that comes in, they don't want to leave their Aetna plan. Some of them want to keep their high option rider back then, but we can't do that. This is a different union. You're a supervisor. You're going to get dental for life. TW doesn't offer dental for life. You get eyeglasses in TW. You don't get dental. When you retire, you don't go out with dental. Here, you go out with dental for life. Okay, nothing changes. You and your family, your husband, your spouse, whatever you have, you get dental for life. So under this new plan, your high option rider is going away. If you have it, it's done. Thank you. It's done, okay? You don't have to ask for it to be done, it's done. And you will get all the other benefits in this package. The other thing, and the final part of this health plan, is moving forward. If you look, Article H, right? The TW, if they negotiate, which they're in negotiations now, if they negotiate something away in their medical plan, it will no longer affect us. Why? Because if this contract's ratified, they have no control over my membership or our medical plans. Rightfully so. You're supervisors, you're not hourlies anymore, okay? Some people like that, some people don't, you know? Also, we have a vote at the table. If TW decides to get rid of Aetna, or any union decides to get rid of Aetna, we have a vote at the table. We have also an advisory seat. So we're going to be there, saying, no, we're not doing this. And that's important to this union, okay? We all know who, if you had Aetna, which you probably did, some of you, back in 2019 when TW did their contract, they negotiated away the higher co-payment in the emergency rooms in the hospital. Well, you all have to pay that price too. Your co-payment went up for the emergency room. And this union never was aware of it, never was told about it. And that's not how we do business here. Because if I have to sit up here as president and continue this type of process, allowing TWU to negotiate our benefits, then I don't need to be president. We might as well just take the SSSA and make them a subdivision of TWU and let TWU negotiate our contracts. That's not going to happen as long as I'm here, okay? Moving forward. Meal allowance. Meal allowance was never touched for God knows how long. It's something small, something minor, but a lot of our members, especially in the transportation divisions, do a lot of overtime. And you know, after you work so many hours, you get the lunch, the meal allowance they give you. It's been $3.50 for God knows how long. We threw a few dollars because we had a few dollars left in the end of this contract. Not much, as you can see. We threw an extra $1.50 in there. It was $1.50. Brought it up to $5. It was just an extra give me, because I didn't want to leave nothing on the table. I ain't going to leave the transit authority any pennies to play with. We're going to use those if we can. So that went up. The death in the family, another first, which TW don't have, and hopefully nobody in this room has to use this, and I mean that, but unfortunately some of our members in the past had to. Grandchildren were added to the DIF, okay? We're the first union with the TSO to get that. TW does not have that. And like I said, I hope nobody has to use it, but it's there if you do. Okay, page 3. All right. This number 12 is additional funding. I'm just going to touch on that for 2 seconds because maybe somebody has a question about it, or maybe you're not sure about it, or people who are watching on the live view tonight may be wondering, what does that mean? Let me tell you what that means, okay? It says we owe $982,000. We do. We owe TA $982,000. And remember when I said in the beginning when I opened up, patent bargain has its pros and its cons. Well, this is one of the cons, and I'm going to explain why. During COVID, TW and the Transit Authority enacted a clause in their contract which they negotiated in 2019 regarding the Americans with Disabilities Act with the elevators and escalators. All right? The Transit Authority lost a lawsuit many years ago, and they were forced to put in new elevators and escalators to accommodate Americans with disabilities. So TW and the TA put in their contract in 2019 a small little clause. Well, Tony Utano, the president of the TW at the time, and the TA enacted this clause and signed off on a separate stipulation in November of 2022. That's right here. And what that did was, it gave the Transit Authority an abundance of savings in the contract, okay? And because they can hire outside contractors. Now, Transit Authority supervisors and elevators do not do construction work like that. It's always contracted out, but you need TW's approval. So by signing that private stipulation, okay, they gave a big abundance of savings to the Transit Authority. So we had to pay for this in our contract, all right? So what happened was, they said, well, you got to give us an extra 2 months on the end of your contract. Your contract is going to be 48 months plus 2 months is 50 months. I said, no way, we're not doing that. And it prolonged negotiations for about another 4 to 5 months, okay? In the middle, because all departmental issues stopped at that point. Because now I had to concentrate. How do I get rid of this 2 months? And we went to bat. There was a big meetings going on. TW came down. It was a whole mess, and I'm not going to get into details. And it was assessed that, yes, they were correct on the patent bargaining. It was something that was enacted, and we got to pay the price. I said, well, I'm not paying the price. And there's no way I'm bringing back a 2-month deal with zeros for my membership. We're not doing a 50-month contract. We're doing a 48. You guys chose to enact this under a 48-month contract under patent bargaining, and in the middle of the contract, almost towards the end of TW's contract, you enact this clause. So how is that patent? And we went back and forth. The attorneys were present. My staff was present, and we fought them. And we were able to get away from a lot of it. So not only did TW negotiate that away, it affected my membership in elevators and escalators, because we lost work too. So that we assessed, we did a cost value on that, and we assessed that at a month value of $900-something, right? So we took another $900-something off, and this $982,000 we owe them. So what I did was, being we negotiated in medical, I said, I'll tell you what. I says, if any of my night shift people that are in night shift switch over to Aetna, if they do, I get a credit for that, because night shift is a little bit more costly than Aetna is. I want that money. So that's why this clause is there. So if anybody that switches over from night shift to Aetna, if you choose to do so, which is your decision, I'm not telling you to do that, whatever savings that's there because you switched over, that will come off that $982,000. Right? Now, what does $982,000 mean? To each and every one of us, the working class, $982,000 is a lot of money. But when you negotiate a contract, it's a 0.19 value. That's how we do it. It's 0.19. It's high, but it's not that bad. We can get around it. All right? There's ways to skin the cat. So that's what that clause means. All right? All right. The continuation of terms just means that any contracts in the past, any side agreements, side letters, will stay enforced moving forward. 4 of 8. What's that? Oh, I just said something. All right, we'll go to page 5, appendix, miscellaneous provisions. Number 1, OTO AVA annual cash out with deferral option. That was something I put in place. The members, the members, constantly ask, they want increases of AVAs and OTO. We have 90 AVAs we're allowed to save, 108 hours of OTO. It's a lot, it's a high number. Transit wasn't budging on it, so I came up with another way. And it actually serves 2 purposes. Every year now, at the end of the year, you can roll over your AVAs and your OTO into a tax-deferred 401, 457 of your, what you have, if you have one, right? You can roll it over, and you free up your bank to save more AVAs and OTO, right? So that totally, you don't ever have to get an increase of saving AVAs and OTO anymore, right? Because you could always clear your bank out and drop it into the 401k. The second purpose that it solves is if you're a young person, even an older person like myself, that are working and you have young kids or you mortgage, you have bills, and you're trying to put a little savings away besides your pension, you're trying to put some money in a 401k, 57, and you may be taking out $150 or $200 out of every paycheck. Well, guess what? You may not have to do that anymore. You could say, wow, you know what? I'm going to drop my $200 I put in every 2 weeks to my 401k. I'm going to drop that down to maybe $50 because at the end of the year, I'm going to roll over 20 AVAs. There's my savings. And you put more cash in your paycheck every week. That's yours anyway. So this solves a lot of problems. So that's why we asked for this, and I got it. All right, that's the first 2, by the way. TW don't have that. The next one, number 2, release time. What that is what I try to do, because we're a very small union, we don't have the luxuries of $30 million a year in dues from our members, just like TW has. We don't have that option. So TW can hire all the staff that they want because they got the money. We don't have that option. And since I took over as president, I believe that the more reps we have, the better off we are able to serve our membership. But unfortunately, we can't afford to pay people. So what we try to do is each contract, we try to get a TA to give us a release time spot, which they pay for. They pay a person gets released to this union, they pay the bill. That's how we do it. But then there's problems with that, okay? Because when they release somebody to us, they get paid 40-hour work week. Now, that's not fair, because if they worked in the field and they did an overtime piece a week, that's all pensionable money that they're losing out. So what I try to do was say, listen, I need another release time spot, and all my TA release time spots now, I want them to be paid 45 hours, at least another 5 hours a week. And they gave me that agreement. So that's something, because the member is serving my membership, us, and they should get a little extra, right? Because we can't afford to pay them on staff salary. We have staff on salary right now, but we can't keep doing that. The money's not there. So that's what that is. That's what that clause is. The grievance procedure. When I took over as president, you had 5 days to file a grievance. Then last contract, we made it 15 days. This contract, we made it 30 days. 30 days is sufficient for you to file a grievance. You should be aware of something that happened, or a pay stub or paycheck that monies may have been missing. At least you have 30 days to figure it out and say, I need to file a grievance. They owe me some money, or there's something else going on and they need to do this, instead of 5 days or 15 days. So 30 days, that's what we got. Discipline Labor Management Committee, what that is we ask for the step process in discipline. They refuse to give it to us because they claim that, oh, we don't discipline supervisors. Oh, no? My officers are constantly down at Labor Relations. What are you talking about? So what we did was we worked out where there'll be a committee of the SSSA and Labor Relations, and we'll be doing it case by case. So if one of our members get disciplined, and they're looking at 15, 20, 30 days, whatever they're looking at, and they have nothing on their record, it's going to impose this committee to sit down and say, wait a minute, you can't do this. This is absurd. So we open the door to possible future things. That's what we're trying to do here with this discipline stuff, because we never had it before anyway. The next one is seniority. I'm going to address it fast. There's not much, but this union has been sued numerous times over seniority regarding provisional time. I said it this morning. I will say it today. I'll say it next week. I'll say it till the cows come home. Mike Karubi personally believes that your list number should count towards seniority, right? But, I know you clap, but I gotta say a but. All right? But, it doesn't matter what Mike Karubi believes. It's what is written on legal decisions, okay? So, I went back and forth with this with my team, went back and forth with this with the legal team, and there's an arbitrator's award going back to 1990. This award constantly keeps coming up when we go to court cases, and the arbitrators and the court people in PERB all stand with this decision. Very hard to get an arbitrator's award overturned. Can't do it. And so it forced me to make a decision. I have to follow the award that was granted in 1990. And that is, union seniority is based on the time you become a union member. Provisional, temporary, permanent, doesn't matter. That's what that award means. So it's been memorialized in the contract. So now every division, every department in the SSSA will follow one rule, and that rule is if you're provisional, and you're provisional 6 months, and you become permanent, you have that 6 months prior seniority. That's how it works. You're paying dues, and we've been back and forth in lawsuits, unfortunately, against what I personally believe. But I feel a labor leader, a union president, should never put what he personally believes or she personally believes into the mix. They have to put what is right. That's how I believe. So that's what that means. The day after Thanksgiving was numerous proposals, last contract and this contract. Some divisions had it, some didn't. So now the SSSA, all divisions will have the day after Thanksgiving, and that just washes out Lincoln's birthday. That's all it does. Sick leave cash out, another big item. Long fight, many days and nights on Teams and meetings at 2 Broadway and phone conversations over this one. In 1998, the union president at the time got a 70-60 sick leave cash out. What that means is if you had 70% of your sick leave, you would get 60% of it when you retired, okay? So we went back and we upped the ante there. We were able to convince them to give us 70% of 70%. So we upped it by 10%. That 10% amounts to, depending on what title you're in and how much sick time you have, could be anywhere between $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 more in your pocket when you retire. All right? That hasn't been touched since 1998. So we went back and we changed it now. Hopefully next year we get into the meeting, into the contract negotiations, we'll change that again. I'm hoping. And we get closer and closer to possibly 100%. That's the goal of this union. Appendix B, Department of Buses, CDL, medical reimbursement, they'll get $100. TW got that last round of bargaining. All members will get the same. Department of Buses, again, single day quota birthday holiday. That's specific to buses. They have a, I don't like to say the word strange, but I'm from RTO. They have a different way of doing business than most of us in Subway's division. They have books, they sign their name in the books, and they get time off, and it's a whole process in buses. So they wanted their birthday off. So we were trying to get the birthday off for everybody, well, across the board, and that's not going to happen. Then we concentrated in buses. And the problem was buses didn't want to give in. So we had to backtrack and say, okay, we need to open this door up. So how do we do this? So we sat back down with the vice president of buses, and we hammered out a deal. At least trying, like it's more or less like a pilot program. It doesn't say pilot program because it's not, but we're trying to figure out some things. So next round of bargaining, if this works, we're going to take that out and say everybody in buses gets it, right? What this means is if two people in a depot or a bus maintenance shop have the same birthday off that day, and both of them want to be off on their birthday, only one of them will be off, the one with seniority. But we didn't like that, but we said, all right, you know what? It's a step in the right direction. It's not costing anybody anything, and it's something that we should have. And we can open the door. So we took it, and we did it. That's what we did here. In bus maintenance, the vice president's not here right now. He's on vacation. His men wanted winter jackets. They've been hounding for winter jackets for years, so they get winter jackets. The Department of Subways, trainers differential, I think I spoke about it earlier when I was talking about the transportation bonus and training time. Trainers now in school car, the fire safety school, pretty much most of them are TSSs, and I think there's about 10 or 12 station level ones that are in the training program, and then you have people in school fire safety training out of Stillwell Yard or Coney Island Yard. All those trainers that go into training will receive a $3,250 increase of pay while they're in the training program, while they're instructors. Once they come out of being an instructor, they go back to their regular rate of pay. So that was something that I was able to get RTO to give us. Like I said, told you before about speaking to the senior vice president and how we were trying to finagle with him. So we were grateful to get something like that, at least opening the door to possibly spreading the wealth one day even further. The stations department, like I said this morning, stations has been stepped on for quite a long time now. And I'm not going to get into details, but their work constantly changes. Their management is poor management. And, you know, it's never ending in stations. It's never ending across the board. But stations is a mess, okay? And thank you. But, you know, and they've been asking me that their work has changed over the years. They had a promotional path there to Station Level 2, but the Transit Authority has eliminated that title, Station Level 2. I think there's about 5 of them left. So there's no promotional path for the Level 1 over there. And they gave all the work to the Level 1 from the Level 2. And they didn't arbitrarily just do that. They lost, the SSSA lost case after case in court. So the courts awarded the Transit Authority that a Level 1 and a Level 2 are equal and they can do each other's work. So what do you think Transit does? Oh, wow. Let's eliminate the Level 2 title, which makes like $104,000 a year. We'll eliminate that title and we'll let the Level 1s do it. They're only making $86,000 a year because the court says we can. So you understand what I'm saying? The courts are not in favor of unions. They don't help us. They destroy us. So for years now, level ones have been doing level two work, busting their butt. Their whole scope of work has changed. Their lifestyle has changed because they got to work all the time in these places, and they've not received anything. So we've increased their rate of pay by $4,000. Okay, so they get up by $4,000. Okay, now that's not a whole bunch of money, but it's a start. Okay, along with the station level ones, I was looking to increase the ATDs as well in RTO. Now I am an ATD, and we fought like holy hell. And the fight was, the argument was from the transit authority, well, what are you saying? I said, well, ATDs and station level ones make the same amount of money. No, they don't. Yes, they do. They said, no, they don't. The ATD makes about $2,100, $2,200 more a year. Where the hell you get that from? Right? Well, they get 12 minutes a day, an hour a week. I said, oh, you're adding in the 12 minutes now. Yeah, well, it's part of their rate of pay. Okay, you're right. But we need to still boost them up, because the cushion between an ATD and a TD, which currently now we're doing all the same job pretty much with all this new technology, shouldn't be $12,000 apart, but it is. But needless to say, you see it's not in the contracts, you know we were not victorious on that. But we live to fight for another day, and as an ATD, you bet your ass I'm going to be back in there next year fighting for it, okay? But I also have to fight for other titles for boost up in pay. So that's the station piece. Also in stations, they had the pilot language under their binding pick. So we finally got that removed after X amount of years, the pilot language. So now they have a solid binding pick. They don't have to worry about this being taken out by management when they feel like they want to take out a binding pick. Maintenance away in the power department. The power department rates of pay will be increased. I know I don't have too much time tonight. I had a little extra time in the AM shift today, but all I could say about this is the power electric power, power cable, and power distribution titles will be elevated to the titles equal pay to signals, elevators, and car equipment. Okay? Last round of bargaining, thank you guys, thank you. Last round of bargaining, we increased the elevator and escalator, MS1, and signals to the rate pay of car equipment. Car equipment is one of the highest MS1 paid titles, right? So we raised those. So now this round we went with the power distribution to bring them up to what everybody's making. So the goal here, and I said it this morning, and I can't get into too many details about it, but the goal here is that, one, we're not a trades union. We are a transportation industry union. We're an industrial union. We are not a trades union, okay? We have trades titles that work here in this union, and I respect every one of yous, and I respect your schooling, and I respect your certifications, all right? But we are not a trades union. Like I said, we're an industrial union. My belief is this is my belief as president. Each one of these titles have MS1 title. MS1 title, and of course, electricity, power, whatever they are. I feel that every MS1 title in this union should be paid equally across the board. So the highest MS1 in this title after this contract will be making $109,000 base pay. Every MS1 title should be making that, every one. And that's my goal, to try to bring everybody up to that level, okay? Because you know why? Down the road, whether I'm here at this presidency or not, or someone sitting in my seat, any president can actually just turn around and say, when they're negotiating, you know what, I want to give all my MS1s a $1,000 boost up, and everybody gets it, because you can't exempt anybody. See how it works? That's the plan here. We could do that because we are not a trades union. We're an industrial union. So that's the goal here. And my goal is also, we fell short this year, this contract, with track equipment maintainers and track division. We wanted to try to get them a little boost up, but we couldn't put it together with the money. Like I said, ATD is the same thing. We couldn't put it together with the money. But each contract that we do, if you look at least This contract and the last one I did, you'll see what I'm trying to do. You'll see my MO, if you call it that, what I'm trying to accomplish, okay? I may not accomplish everything before I leave this place, but I hope that the people that take over for me will continue that work, because it's important to do that in these contracts. Also, under the elevator piece, you'll see ADA, community installing elevators and stations. That pertains to the prior piece I was telling you about the monies we owe them. Underneath that is elevator license. The elevator and escalator guys are going to get a $3 differential while they're working in that E&E inspection group. Okay, TW got it, so we had to get it. All right, so they will be getting $3 more an hour while doing that work. Right, they'll also be reimbursed for any certificates or training that they have to take to maintain their credentials. That's what that clause is. Okay, so again, getting back to what I said, sometimes patent and bargaining works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it worked for benefit us, right? Track department, we were trying to get track department. In track department, they call training new students shadowing, just like they do in stations. In RTO, we call it posting, right? So in track division, we're trying to get them shadowing time, and that went nowhere on numerous fights, numerous meetings, numerous phone conversations, and whatnot. They refused to give it, and some of the proposals, they asked for jackets, so we were able to get jackets, right? Which not anything, but it is what it is. All right, car equipment, the same thing. So like I said before, when I opened up and I said about the chain, when we negotiate, in car equipment, just like stations, car equipment management is probably now even worse than stations department, okay? Car equipment management, the VP over there, and I'm not going to mention her name, all right, but I'm sure those in car equipment understand who I'm talking about. This woman is a disaster, and refused to come to the table with us. Actually told me one day that I have no control over my staff. All right, you don't tell me that. And of course, we had words over, we were doing Teams meetings, thank God. And I went after her, we argued and back and forth. And this woman I don't know where she came from, where she's going, or where she thinks she's going, but she's a disaster. And unfortunately, refused to give us anything. That I'm going to say, we got jackets. I spoke to the VP of the department, the section. He said, let's see if we can get winter jackets for my members. We went back, and she refused to even give us the jackets. That I went nuts. And the labor relations chief negotiator called her privately, and he got us the jackets because he knew exactly what she's doing. She has no love for our vice president in that section. She has no love for me. She has no love for this union at all. Not that I expect it to, but you have to respect us. And she does not. So, you know, that's the problem in car equipment. It's the management, and she just keeps blaming us that we don't know how to talk to her, we don't know how to, whatever. Those in car equipment understand who and what I'm talking about, okay? And hopefully we'll get some progress as we move forward. Maybe we can build better relationships with this department. I'm trying. But right now, during negotiations, it was a no-go. So she stuck it to us at negotiations. RTO, you'll see the piece that says RTO. That's about Rail Control Center. We're still continuing talks on Rail Control Center, trying to get the RCC people back into this union. They do pay us dues. The transit pays the dues, by the way, which I always felt it was illegal. I never understood that. But they pay us the dues, and yet they tell us we can't represent them. But we do. We go in and fight them in discipline. We force our way in the door with legal and everybody else, but that still doesn't make it right. So we're going to still continue talks on that moving forward outside this contract. In security, property protection, if you look at my last contract, the 28-month contract, We got property protection, a one-time boost up in rate of pay. They were the lowest title in this union, pay-wise, and we did get them a one-time boost up to ATD and station level 1's rate of pay. So we did that last go-around with the signals and the elevator and escalator guys. This round of bargaining, of course, we couldn't do that again, so they wanted RDO swaps. So we got them RDO swaps there. They wanted a few other things, but we couldn't get it, so we got the RDO swaps for them this round of bargaining. And having said that, I believe that's it. Oh, the other thing, by the way, and I'm going to say something here tonight, which I didn't say today, but you could check the video for today's meeting, and you think I was joking, I'm not. Today, when I was doing the AM meeting, and I was talking about labor relations, my phone rang, and you could check the AM video. And my attorney looked at my phone and he says, it's labor relations, because it says it right there. Well, it was the chief negotiator. So although we're sitting here today trying to ratify a contract, and I'm trying to tell you all the bullshit I went through trying to get this contract, it still continues. Because you know why? We negotiated the increase of 150% of overtime cap increase per wages, right? According to your wages. We negotiated that under pattern bargaining. We got it in the contract, right? The problem was the transit authority was telling us, well, that's not a reset. TW got a 150% wage increase reset, overtime cap with a reset, meaning it starts from zero. That's what we negotiated. They didn't put that in the contract. So we were still technically, I was waiting for an answer, because if they did not call me, and I thought they were going to call me yesterday, they called me during the meeting as I'm trying to get a contract ratified. Well, anyway, the 150% overtime cap will in fact be reset. You will start from zero as of ratification of this contract. We got that today. Thank you. So it's just ironic that you see what I'm talking about, who we deal with here. We're dealing with management. I'm at a ratification meeting, and I'm still pretty much trying to get answers on a contract we discussed, on a word reset. But that reset word means a lot, all right? So I'm just trying to bring it out that it's ridiculous what we've dealt with these people. But thank God it went in our favor, because I wasn't sure if it was going to go in our favor. And we would have had to get our attorney to file a court case against them, because we negotiated in good faith as pattern bargaining. Same thing TW got. And you're going to tell me that, no, that's not the same thing? What are you talking about? So the last week and change, we've been arguing, and they finally called me today and said, no, it's going to be a reset. So, and they're going to send me an email, if it ain't already there, saying so. So we're good. So I just wanted to let the members know that. But the phone was ringing today, and we were on video, so you could all look and see what I'm talking about. Having said that, it's now 5 after 5. We have to be done by 6 o'clock because we have the room until 7, but this is a union hotel, and they got to break everything down, and we only paid till 7. And the voting stops at 7 tonight here, but you still can vote online. So I'm going to open the floor. If you have any questions, please keep it minimal, and because we're short of time as well, and I'll try to address every one of your questions if I can, okay? Thank you, Richie. Not a problem. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Thank you. Just state your name, and you don't have to state your title. You don't have to. Just state your name. You can state the department you're from, and so Lee keeps it in the minutes.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll make this quick because I made the same announcement this morning. But my name is Takia Hanley. I'm the Section VP for Level 1 Station Supervisors. I know a lot of people are not happy. people won't, in different departments are not going to be happy about the contract, but each department will benefit on different contracts. Yes, they may look at station supervisors and say, okay, we got a bump up. But we've worked a very long time, as Mike explained, over 20 years, doing another level supervisor's work. We were never compensated for it. We went to court, never won our court cases. So saying that, I totally agree with Mike. I like this contract because I've been here. Today is my 20th anniversary here. So I was here with TWU. Thank you. I was here with TWU. I was on strike. I had 2 years going on 3 years. I was terrified. I was a mom. I could not afford 3 days to be taken out of my pay, but it was because that contract was voted down. And then when we received it, over a year later, we still got the same contract. So it was like a smack in the face. I know a lot of people here probably have less than 10 years in their title, but in 10 years, you will be standing here and you'll be talking to the newborns. They call them the newborns then. You're gonna be talking to them and you're gonna say the same thing. You will get your time. You will get your time. Right now, I mean, to vote this contract down, we probably won't get a better contract. And then we'll lose all the extra perks. So with that being said, I don't know if anyone knows, I ran against Mike on the opposing slate because I was asked as a favor and I didn't think we were going to win anyway, my slate. But I did, and you were very open. You welcomed me. We bargained back and forth.
That's what you do.
And,
that's fine.
But as members, reach out to your reps. Report things. Speak. Don't wait to this meeting or meetings like this to come out and say, what is the union doing? Why is the union doing that? You have to be vocal. You have to be present. We have over 4,000 members. Look how many members have shown up, AM and PM. Yes, granted, people can't make it out, but you can't blame the union. We are the union, okay? So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Alice Cotton, RTO. I have a question about the medical coverage.
Sure.
Now, if I read correctly, with them giving us the option to switch over, because right now I have night shift.
Yes.
I've been a member since 2001. So, to me, like you said, night shift was the end all to be all. I don't know any better than that. Everybody said Aetna's good, great, whatever. Now you have the option to switch over.
Right.
From what I read, once you switch over, you're locked in, you can't switch back.
Right. Yeah. Let me just, with this, like I said before, when I outlined what the whole health coverage was about, right? Yes, once you switch, if you switch to Aetna, you stay with Aetna. Would you switch back? If you switch to, if you stay with, you're in Aetna and you go into night shift, you go to night shift. And that's what you stay with. That's it, it's done. No different than what we have now, right? You're in what you're in, right? You stay with, well, you,
No.
if
Well,
you're in,
I mean, you can switch over during the
well,
open.
No, you can't switch over to Aetna in open enrollment.
No,
You
open,
could
yeah.
switch, you could switch HMO or PPO
Yeah, okay,
in
yeah.
your night shift plan.
Got it.
Same thing with the Aetna. The Aetna could switch to a PSO or basic in their own plan.
Okay.
You can't switch from medical plans to medical plans.
Okay.
But being that this is something new that we did and took control of now and changed the medical plan, right? I felt to give everybody an open option. You want to, if you're in Aetna and you're approaching that 10-year time frame to go to night shift, well, you could still go to night shift. If you're in night shift and you say, well, you know what, this night shift has changed and I don't like it anymore, but I know Aetna's better. If you think Aetna's better, let me correct myself. You want to switch, I'm giving you that option also through the contract. But that's it. But let me be clear on something. I'm not going to say we're going to discount ever having an option going back and forth. The reason why we did this in this contract, the one-time option, if you go back 45 minutes ago when I said about the $982,000 that we're going to owe, we could only assess the cost value of that for the one-time option if people from night shift go to Aetna. So you have to do it on a one-time option. in order for me to use that credit or value going into the $982,000 next year's contract. If we do it as a continuous open enrollment, I would never get that credit towards the $982,000. So what I'm saying is, I said, give me a one-time option, this one. So after that one-time option happens, say I'm just throwing a number, say 300 people switch from night shift to Aetna at their own free will, their own choice. That may wash off my whole $982,000 in the contract, right? Then we come back to next year's contract and we say, you know what? That plan last year worked well. Let's open up every year open enrollment, right? To go from night shift to Aetna if we want, or point of retirement. When you're ready to retire, you make a final decision. There's a possibility that we can get that, because there's really no cost to it if you did that.
One more
Yeah.
thing. Okay, so when you were giving the numbers about our budget being 1% of TWUs as far as money-wise.
Right.
And because of the number of our membership.
Right.
But our membership is like maybe a little less than 10%. So why are we only getting 1%?
No, it's based, when we say the 1% value, that's a like a Quasimodo term, right? So it's a 1% value. It's an old term that they use, right? And forgive me, maybe I shouldn't have said that because people don't understand it, right? But that's why I gave you the number how much it's worth, right? $5,178,000.
Okay.
That's what our contract is worth.
I'm like, if we
no,
going by numbers, then we should be closer to 10%.
No.
not 1%.
They call it the 1% value in labor bargaining, but so it's broken down that way. But that's our number. Our part was $5,178,000. That was it. All right, Alice. And I'm waiting on those cookies. You better start baking.
I'm going to put this up here and probably drop it or something. Let's see.
Yeah, I think, you can put it up there.
Only because I don't have a podium. I have some papers.
I'm sorry. We
So,
didn't, you know.
my name is Michael Lemma. I'm from CED.
Yes.
I've talked to you a couple of times. I don't know if you remember me or not.
I'm sure, yes.
I have a few questions. So you mentioned everybody going to the same MS1 pay.
Right.
Now, last contract, MS1 EMD, ELECT, I don't know what that is, I guess revenue and tele.
Right.
So they make 102. So
Right.
does that mean all the other MS1s will increase to what they're making?
Well,
and also
listen,
Power Electron, they're making
Right.
100, which
like-
is lower than CED.
Right, like I said, listen to me very carefully. What I said was, my goal here is to have every MS1 be equal, right? Whether that rate of pay is 109, 109, 119, it doesn't matter. The goal here is before I leave here that every MS1 in all titles
Okay.
and sections are equal.
Eventually, we're talking.
Eventually, of course.
Okay, no.
I would love to have had it now. It would have
No,
been done.
I was trying to figure out because you said that
No.
CED was at the top pay, but we weren't.
Well, we're gauging it on CED because that's what we utilize.
Because it's
the
easier
last-
because they're lower.
It was
Gotcha.
it was the last two things.
And the next thing I wanted to bring up, you mentioned the seniority.
Right.
Now, is this a going forward thing, or is this because
It's a going forward thing.
so
It's not-
anything in the past will not change?
No, it's not
So,
grandfathered in. No.
but what I don't understand is if you're telling me it's law, how come you wouldn't change what's in the past? Is that because they should be breaking the law?
Let me put it. Like I said before about the seniority award, the seniority grievance award that was granted in 1990. Okay, it's a 1990 grievance.
Yes.
Okay, that's moved forward ever since, right? And every court case that was brought against this SSSA union regarding provisional time has been lost, right? Accordance with that 1990 award.
So if you don't have the provisional time added to your bank now, you will never have it.
if
So
you-
like SS1s, provisional time does not count. So all the people.
what do you mean
that
SS1s?
Station supervisor level 1.
Okay, what
you
about
had the
them?
VP up here just before.
Okay, what about it?
Their provisional time does not count as part of their seniority. You do understand that, right?
Their
have it right here.
provisional time does not
count towards
That
the-
sheet that you have is so old.
No, this is 2023.
When did you
I
get
don't know
that
what
from?
year
You didn't get that from us,
Oh, yeah, I got it from TA, actually.
from the TA?
Yes.
Well, that's gone. That's done. That
So-
will not,
so-
if you have provisional
So they're
time.
going to change it.
Okay, let me explain. You're asking me a question.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to give you the honest answer to the question you're asking me. okay? Any provisional time that you have moving forward from ratification of this contract will be considered union seniority. That's how it's going to work, moving forward.
So, just to be clear, as an SS1, the seniority list will change to do what you're saying, right?
Yeah, across the board, everywhere, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they know.
No. Are you saying that the current seniority list is going to be shuffled around?
Yes.
No.
So,
No, everything will
so
remain.
provisional time will not count if it never counted.
Okay,
I just want to be clear.
exactly, yes. So moving forward from ratification of the contract, or moving forward, so say if the contract is, be good, brother, if the contract is ratified next week by the MTA, after we ratify,
Yes.
effective that date, the provisional time will then count towards union seniority.
Okay, so the
That's
guys
it.
in the past get screwed, the new guys, everything's good.
Listen, if you, you want to say that, that's fine,
That's what's true.
but,
Okay.
but, huh?
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes. All right.
How are you doing? My name is Rudolph Ashraf. I'm with Car Equipment as well. I'm here to represent Coney Island Overhaul Shop,
Yes.
the maintenance department.
Yes.
Yesterday, I happened to be an electrician. Today, I was a plumber. Tomorrow, I'm going to be supervising cleaners. Next week, I'll be supervising carpenters. And the next day after, I'll probably be supervising another trade. I know you say this is not a trades union, but you do realize that people, excuse me, I have a cough, in car equipment possess a plethora of trades that we're entitled to, for our title to supervise. So in everywhere else, these trades get compensated for their work, what they're paying. Let me just give you some examples, right? DCAS, this is per DCAS. So a supervisor, a carpenter supervisor makes $55 an hour as per DCAS. Right? That's what I did yesterday, right? I didn't mention that.
Not in transit, they don't make that.
Not in transit, right.
all right.
But I'm expected to wear all those hats with one title, and that's okay.
If you wanted to make that salary, excuse me, and don't take this the wrong way.
And I will leave eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
no.
just, that's fine.
Well,
But
no,
you're going
no.
to lose members. There's going to be a brain drain from
Listen,
departments that possess actual skills
listen,
and don't get
listen,
compensated for
listen,
them, when it comes to pay.
Let me speak a minute.
Okay.
I am not here to try to demoralize a specific title in any way, shape, or form. Okay? I respect your certifications, like I respect the mason, the plumber, the painter, and all those other titles. And when I say this is not a trades union, I understand you have a trade, and painters and masons and carpenters and plumbers have trades, right? You're certified. But you also are a civil servant, right? If you wanted to make the $55 and $60 and $65 an hour in your professional, in your trade, then you'd go work in the trades unions, right? That you would be doing those things in. But you work for a public authority.
These are city jobs, by the way.
That's
Yeah.
fine. But, you have to look at what how their city jobs, they're in trades unions, right? Right? And their contract is done by prevailing wages, right? In those specific trades. You work for the New York City Transit Authority. And again, I hope you're not taking this the wrong way. I'm just trying to explain to you. When I say that all MS1 titles should be making the same thing, your title is MS1, and then it's CED, right? Engineer, or it's painter, it's carpenter, it's mason, right? So I would be trying to go by the highest paid MS1, okay? And trying to get everybody equal to that money, right? Even though you have a specific trade. Your trade certification got you in the door when you were an hourly.
I've been doing this for 20 years. I know I might look young
Okay.
and all, but yeah,
Okay.
I have a lot of experience and a lifetime
Okay,
of
I
hands-on experience
I
that's worth
understand.
more
Listen,
than just...
I am not trying to put your experience down, okay? I don't want to, this is not a pissing contest, believe
get
me,
it.
okay? But your trade, you use that trade and certification to get the job, because you needed to have that.
Sure.
You came in as an hourly under TWU or ATU, whatever union.
Shouldn't that be worth something?
Well-
Other titles you don't. You could
Well,
come in as a
no,
store
listen,
clerk
listen,
and become
I
anybody,
I fully
make the same salary as I make.
fully understand.
Why should I try?
I fully, Why should you struggle?
Why should I try?
Oh.
Yeah.
No,
Why should I wear multiple hats while other departments don't? How come an RTO,
Well, listen,
TSS makes a substantially larger amount than a train operator,
right,
but a RCI that I
also-
supervise makes more than a train operator,
Also, we're
but I
not
get paid less than a TSS?
Also, we're not a union where we're going to bash fellow brothers
No,
and
I'm not,
sisters
but
in
since we're
other
going that
sections,
route.
okay?
Okay.
Because you don't know what their struggles are about.
No problem.
Thank you.
Hi, David Novin, Car Equipment. Mike, you're not going to say her name, but I am. Suko. So what I want to know is, I know that we're going to have another contract relatively soon.
The year and a half.
What can we do to force Suko to the table and make her negotiate in good faith?
All right, you want me to tell you what you could do in car equipment? I'm going to tell you what you can do. Stop coming in early and not getting paid for it. Stop leaving late and not getting paid for it, okay? Stop doing work that you're working through your lunch without getting paid for it, all right? Now, listen, I'm not saying this to bash any section, but 3 weeks ago, in front of your vice president in your section, and I don't mean to air anybody's dirty laundry out here, I found out something, and I instructed my team send out a text email blast to every car equipment supervisor. This stops immediately as per the president, okay? And it still goes on. So when we go to the table, and I'm trying to answer your question, David, when we go to the table and say, hey, listen, we want 12 minutes exchange of information for car desks or troubles desks, management looks and says, no way. Why? Because we get it for free.
Yep.
And we've been getting it for free for 20 years.
Yep.
So how do we fix that? We fix it by the department, the section, the car equipment members. And I'm saying to all of you, please, stop it. Do not do any favors for these people. Ms. Suku is, I didn't want to mention her name earlier, she's the vice president of car equipment. This woman is a disaster, okay? But she's still the vice president. So we have to respect who she is. What I would add to that is I think we need to build better relationships with upper management, right? We have to sit down at the table more often with them. And the members have to stop doing free work. Because when you continue to do free work, I can't get you paid for work you've been doing for free. That's the real answer, David, and that's the best I could say. What? Oh, by the way, I know you probably know Dave. He's one of our shop stewards, very good man. We just added a Bronx rep, Robert Davenport, to car equipment to try to help the Vice President, Robert Hemlau, over there, try to build a better relationship with management, try to stop a lot of this. And Robert Davenport he has an office out there now. He's setting up an office out in the Bronx, and he's going to be the Bronx guy out there. So we're trying on our end. The members may not see that because they're in the field, or maybe they're not even told that, but believe me, we're trying to help car equipment as much as possible. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're just going to do one question right now. Then if you want another question, let's go back in the line. Let's really get to the one.
Okay.
So pick your best one right now.
All right. Good evening. My name is Edwin DeVilla with Car Equipment,
Yes.
Emergency Response. Is there any clause that you have an idea to put in place to where new MS1s would never make less money than the title they're supervising? Because as you're well aware, it's funny, but as you're well aware, the new supervisors coming in now, they're making less money than
Yeah, no, that's a fair
And it should
question.
never be-
That's a fair question.
That's not a promotion.
Because it's not just in your department. The wage progression, like I said earlier, has been a big problem, and the union leaders are going to address this with the MTA because the MTA is concerned about it. The MTA knows that the wage progression really is a problem across all unions. We're supposed to meet with them as a whole unit, as a coalition, the unions and the MTA, to address ways of trying to fix the wage progression. What happens with us as supervisors, and it happens a lot in RTO and some of the other departments, is that this union, again, we're 16 months behind TW. So what does that mean? We're almost 3 raises behind TW, every contract. And that is because, not because of us, because of prior leaders that added 3 months, 4 months, 5 months onto the contracts. So we got almost 16 months away from TW. TW is negotiating their contract right now, right? Our contract, this new contract, if you ratify it, expires next July. So you see the expand? You see the expansion time between each one? It's about 16 months, 15, 16 months. So what happens is, a new supervisor gets promoted, they come under a specific title, whether it's 80% or 85% under the wage progression, and they're coming out of the hourly title at top salary, but being that we're 2 or 3 raises behind TW, it appears, and you are, I shouldn't say appears, you come in, it seems like a lower rate, but once the contract is ratified, case in point here, once this contract ratifies, right? What, your title's MS1?
Correct.
How many years are you in the wage progression?
1.
Oh, so you're 1 year in the wage
That's
progression.
why I'm complaining about it.
Huh? Well, I didn't know you were 1 year
Who
in
else
the wage
gonna complain
progression. All
about it?
right, so I don't have it in front of me here. I thought I did.
No, but I'm saying we all know why it's happening. But
Right.
could there be a clause to prevent that, to where in the future it happens? You could say like, oh, it's the same thing when you get reclassified. You keep your rate of pay.
Right.
So those car inspectors or RCIs that go to get promoted and they find themselves in the same situation that
Right.
we're in now, keep your rate of pay until it reaches you.
Well, that could probably be something that could be talked about, yes. I would never exempt
I mean,
that,
if
yes,
you're so
without a
passionate
doubt.
about all the MS1s making the same money, we should be
Yeah.
passionate about stuff like this too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How you doing there, Mike? My name
What's
is
going
Kevin
on?
Worrell from Track Department.
Yes.
MS1 now for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just take it off. I'm good with it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, what I wanted to find out about is the medical, with the medical switchover.
Right.
Is there a timeline for us to switch, and also with the new medical that's coming up, would it include moving forward, better vision plan, things of that nature?
Okay, the open enrollment will be during open enrollment.
Okay.
Okay? What? Yeah, in December, the open enrollment. I just assume that everybody knows that, right? But open enrollment, it'll take effect, right? And then what'll happen is that, no, the eye vision and dental are separate, right? That is something different. That's not part of the medical plans.
Okay.
All right? So that's it. But we're trying to, like I said earlier, we're trying to get these workshops going if we can, where Aetna comes out there and the night shift people come out, and you could better make a decision as to what's going to work for you when you do switch, if you do switch, right? That's what we're trying to do. But that'll happen during the open enrollment time, during November, December times.
That's including the visions?
No, the vision is something different.
Completely
Vision and dental is what it is right now. That's what it is.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
Got it.
you got it, brother.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, my question is about medical health
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm an RTO 5 years, but not 10 years, under 10 years.
Right.
Right? If I switch from Aetna or remain in Aetna, will my medical be for life after I retire? Say at the end, if I retire at the end of the year, will my medical be for life?
100%. The 10-year time frame is now gone after ratification. This contract will no longer have a wording in it 10 years. You no longer have to wait 10 years. You get your lifetime medical.
Also, my spouse be covered.
Go ahead.
Real quick, she had mentioned by the end of the year, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
She
Well,
got to basically stay to January 1st, if she has Aetna,
Yeah,
in
that-
order to get the lifetime.
Right.
Because she has to enroll into it.
well, you have what now, night ship?
No, I have Aetna right now.
No, you have Aetna. Well, once this contract is ratified, it takes effect, and if you stay in Aetna, you stay in Aetna.
Oh.
You get it for life. You retire, you go out with Aetna.
And spouse also? Or
Spouse
just
also, of course, for life.
life? Wow.
Yep,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Good evening,
How are
Mark
you?
Cavallari. I'm the shop steward at East New York Car Equipment.
Yep,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Car Equipment does a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
like the other gentleman was saying. You were about to tell the other gentleman, and I heard in the morning, that we got this supervisor job by taking a test, getting a promotion. Do you know what that test entailed?
Do I know what the test entailed?
Yeah, do you know what the test was about?
Of course I did not know what the test entailed, but I know there was no certification requirement regarding
Yes,
the
there
test.
is.
What was the certification
We have to
requirement?
know about those trains. We have to know about the electronics in those trains. We are a trade. No matter, I don't care what anybody says. You can say we're whatever we are, but we are a trade,
Right.
and we should be paid for that skill. If that's the case, then we might as well break off and make a trade union with the signal supervisors and whoever else, because it's not fair that you're pushing us, well, not pushing us down, but keeping us down and bringing other people up to us, because we're not the same. It's just the way it is. And you guys got to realize that. I invite all of you guys to come down to East New York personally and sit there for a day or two and see what we have to do to get those trains running.
Okay. Huh?
Wow, I'm good. Whew, that was deep. My name is Kenny Turner, and I come before you with a little joy
Yes.
because I'm a newly promoted car appearance supervisor.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for you guys for bringing
Thank
that title back.
Thank you. Thank you.
One of my, it's not really a question, maybe a little, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm wondering if we'll have representation as a newly brought back title, if we'll be recognized, acknowledged, and you guys will give us a seat with you where we have a leader. I know who we have right now, Hemlaw, he's busy. So we'll need somebody else who's going to give us guidance and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Well-
that's
well-
why I'm standing here today.
Well, what we have, like I said, we do have some clauses in our Constitution, and I'm not going to get into them right here, but we are mindful of certain things. And you do fall under car equipment, so that is Rob Hemlow's. We just brought in Rob Davenport, who's another rep there, too. And we'll, as we move forward with that title, because there's a lot of T's we still have to cross and I's, and I'm just-
Exactly.
being
True.
that you're standing there, and I just got pounded by one of my shop stewards.
Yeah, I
Okay.
see.
All right, I might as well say this because it is what it is. I just told a class of yours, a new induction class, that we were trying to get you guys a bump up in pay also.
Well,
All right.
sounds great.
And yeah, I know, laugh, but I got to say it like it is because we were trying to get you guys a bump up in pay because we couldn't get it in the contract anyway. But because your wage was defunct in 2015 when we lost the last car appearance supervisor when he retired, and the title was shelved, and then we brought the title back, and the problem was transit didn't move it forward, so your rate of pay isn't where it should be higher. Okay, so I just want to let you know, I'm waiting for them to finish off hiring the 120, and then we're going to cross the T's and dot the I's for the CAS title, and then we're going to figure out what rate of pay you should be at, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Terry. I'm a property protection supervisor. And the general consensus is none of my coworkers are happy with this contract. We weren't happy with the last one. We're not happy with this one.
Your property protection?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. Well, you already know, because we lost a security operations center last time, which has changed the job for us in the last 3 years for the worse. And I'll let you know, I was one of the original 5 that went down to the SOC, and I ran from there.
Right.
Because we have so many issues with management
Right.
that we don't feel like we're being heard.
Right.
We don't feel like we're being heard by you as part of the union either. So we had a whole list of demands. You're saying we got audio swaps. That's something that our agents have for more than 10 years now. That is something that OA counterparts also got in their contract that was currently being ratified. They signed that, the first week of April. So we asked for things such as paid meal, which our agents have had. You
Right.
know, they're not expected to, they can't leave the property, but they also get paid an additional 30 minutes. They also get paid 10-minute relief time. We don't get paid relief time, but yeah, I'm supposed to update somebody coming on duty when I'm going off duty
Right.
at the same exact time, which isn't fair. So there's times where we do it on our own time, just because we are only 29 members.
Right.
29 people out of, what, 4,000 members you have, which makes us less than 1%, and we feel like we're just not being heard. So,
All right, let me just, I have all your demands that were on the thing. I have all the demands, and we did present those demands, okay? And it's a shame that you're saying you're not happy. We tried last contract. We brought your title up to by almost $3,000, $4,000 in a rate increase to make you equal to ATDs and SS1s. And yes, unfortunately, there's some things that we couldn't get, right? And be mindful now that you are a small section of 28 members, and there's not a whole bunch of money that your area, your managers are willing to spend on 28 people. I have to say that, and being honest with you. And so we looked at it as, okay, we got them an increase last round. What can we get them now? We did discuss the meal thing. We did discuss the other.
the 10-minute relief time?
Yes, we did discuss that. Management was not willing to budge on that. So as we're going down the list, you know, we hit on one that they said, well, we'll do the RDO swap, right? Well, that's not really not of a cost. Of course, transit feels it is always a cost, right? Oh, yeah, it does cost. Well, we got to do that. That's an administrative position that they got to make these changes, and they make up a whole story. But we took what we can out of them. You know, instead of getting nothing, we took the RDO swaps. And like I said, I felt good that we got you to raise the last go-round, boost you up a little bit. So I said, okay, it's, you know, we got a little bit here. We'll move a little forward, and we'll try to get other people some things each round of bargaining. And I'll be honest with you, this is the first I'm hearing of it. Your vice president, Marlon Palou, he's an executive board member. I never really, he never complained to me about it, you know, anything like that. So, I mean, you know, I'm not a mind reader.
Okay, with the boost up that we received last time,
Right.
that came at a cost. When we lost, so at the time I was a year 2 supervisor, year 2 pay. I just became, you know, I just got top pay. I made more money before we lost the SOC because that generated 90% of our overtime. And I was actually here at that same meeting, and I spoke to you about it. And we also lost jobs. With that, we are tripping over each other in the field. But yet, we don't get an extended quota. It's one person off per tour.
Yeah.
That was one of our demands. It wouldn't cost management nothing.
The thing with the SOC and the SC, that wasn't a decision that we had to make. They were doing it anyway. They had the power to do that. Management has the power to combine offices when they need to do that. See, there's management rights clauses in our contracts, and what that issue came about, they threw that at us at a meeting, and they said, we're going to do it. So I said, wait a minute, you can't do that. Yes, you can. We spoke with legal. They said they can do whatever they want. They can combine, the transit can combine 2 departments. I don't mean car equipment and maintenance. Don't get me wrong. In security, you had the 2 centers, right? The SEC, and the other unit.
Correct, but
SOC and the SEC, right?
So now I've got, yes, it's still the Security Operations Center and the Security Command Center. And my biggest problem with that.
But it's all in one area.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
It's all in the same room now.
They closed down, and I can't go on too much with you, but they closed down one area and they put it all together. They recently did that in buses as well with bus track and bus command. They combining them together, right? We can't control what the transit authority wants to do. So when they told us that last round of bargaining that they were going to do this, we said, wait a minute, we got to get something. If they're going to do this and we can't stop it, then we need to make it like we can get something out of it. And that's what we went and did. But I can't.
Okay, just you know, y'all don't give us a section meeting. We don't get any speaking rights in this union. That's why we feel so unheard. Like, everyone else gets a section meeting. Why is that we don't get one? Like, why are we not entitled, even if we're small?
That's not true. Your vice president can request a section meeting. That is not true.
We've never had one. I've been
Well, you have to speak to your section vice president.
Okay. So,
You know.
with that, I'm just saying, why couldn't the other demands be met? You know, those are quality of life issues for us.
The company did not want to budge on them. Just like car equipment. The company didn't want to budge on things. Just like other sections, the company didn't want to budge, and no matter how much we fought and asked and you know, did what we had to do, it was a no, 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 no. And there's a point in contract negotiations where, as president and my administrative team, we have to say, okay, when does this end? Because what was happening was, you, the members, were getting riled up, when are we getting a contract? And I can't just...
I was patient.
No,
I was waiting.
maybe you
Yeah.
were. But you got to understand, this is long overdue, and we had to start to figure out, okay, this is definitely not going nowhere. This is not going nowhere. We have to close the door. Otherwise, we'd be negotiating till the cows come home. I mean, it would never end.
Okay, so who negotiate on behalf of the TPPSs with management? That's what I would like to know.
I do, the president.
Okay, so Pelu shouldn't have been involved in that at all, or just...
We had discussions, my staff, I don't, you know, it's things like that. It's not a continuous thing with Pelu or anybody like that. The president has the right to negotiate a contract.
All right, good to know.
All right?
Good afternoon. My name's Ronald Mazzella. I work for RTO. Hi, Mike.
How you doing, Ron?
All right, I have a couple matters to discuss. I'm still waiting for the retro checks so I could put in my 457. I still haven't received that.
Well, it didn't happen yet, the retro check.
Okay.
We're hoping after this meeting and next week, we're probably sometime in July, I think. we're getting
Yeah,
it.
I just needed a timeline.
Yeah.
The other matter with the contract, are there any changes in AVAs save?
No, there'll be no increases of AVA and OTO, like I outlined earlier. You will now be able to roll those AVAs and OTO into a 401k or 457, which will free up your bank to save more AVAs and OTO.
The last one is a most unusual question.
Go ahead.
It's a legal matter concerning transit policy. I have spoken to you that I'm writing a book.
Right.
If I should get it published, would I be able to get a waiver to use transit facilities to promote this book?
I can't, I'm not going to be able to answer that question.
I know it's a legal matter.
Yeah, so we could discuss that outside this forum, okay, Ron?
I'll be leaving soon. Okay, thank you.
You got it, brother. Yeah, that's Ronnie. He's a pisser. He's funny.
Okay, hello.
How are
my
you?
name is good. My name is Carmen. First of all, I want to make sure that I got the right. This is what I got in the mail. Okay, and it only has 8 pages on this, and I highlighted nothing here really pertains to surface dispatches. Everything seems to be for RTO.
Surface
So am I in the wrong meeting?
What do you mean?
Most of this stuff here pertains to everyone in Subway. There's really nothing here for us. Nothing different that we didn't already have, aside of the raise.
For buses?
There's nothing, exactly. There's really nothing, but beside of the raise, we already get the Lincoln Day.
On
I don't
page
understand.
6, you have Department of Buses, CDL $100 medical reimbursement.
Again, this is.
You didn't have that?
Yeah, but nothing here is really, I don't feel is of really much importance. This is like,
Okay.
I don't think that this is something to be, well, at least for us. I'm hearing everything from train. I only see a few faces here. I don't know if the AM was for surface line dispatches. There's nothing here for us. And from the group that I'm from, 126 Forgotten, that's surface line dispatches, okay? We too don't get meetings. There's only 14 of us. We're never included in many of these things.
126 is
no longer there.
part of the bus division. So if
Exactly.
Mike Vietes, who's the vice president there, has a meeting, 126 is entitled to be there. Why wouldn't they be?
We don't get meetings over there.
Well, you wouldn't have a meeting at 126. You'd have a meeting at the Union Hall. If the vice president calls for that meeting.
When do we have union meetings? Or
That's
how
the
often do
decision
we
of the
have?
vice president, who will let me know.
Oh, I don't do Zoom.
All right.
Okay, now,
All right. That's.
yeah, but again, now the other thing that I feel that I'm not included in, or many of us that are not included, is, you get these increases like for families, and let's say now for death benefits for grandchildren and stuff like that.
Right.
What happens to those that are single? We're
All
not
right.
included in many of these things, yet I pay the same amount of dues. When there's a promotion for your grandchild, for your child, for scholarships, I have godchildren, I have nieces and nephews. Why can't I include them in that? There's nothing never, included for
I
single
understand,
people.
it's just the way it is. I mean, we can't negotiate for single and married at the same time, we can't.
But then
it's-
you don't
it's-
put a cap either, so a family of 6 can get, all this, and then you basically don't get anything, yet I pay the same dues. When
I
are we gonna
understand.
be included in things like that? So for me, there's really not much here that was increased. The
Okay.
death benefit goes to who? These death benefits, if you
Well,
die
God
at the
forbid if
end.
you, hopefully you don't have to use them, but it would go to your beneficiary.
Okay, that could be whoever you want, because again, it
that's
wasn't
what-
stated in terms of
Oh,
if
no,
it
no,
was of
that-
your significant
I
other.
can't dictate who you give that money to.
No, again, but some of these things are just for spouse or whatever, as long as you can
Whoever you-
designate, then that's fine.
If you gave your death benefit to a child or niece or nephew, that's your call.
All right, so, I
Or
mean, could
even
we look?
charity, you could do whatever
Yeah.
you want with that.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, and some of these other things, they don't include, the rest of us and stuff like that. I didn't find this to really have anything different for surface line dispatchers.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
But there are
you
things
didn't,
that I like to, bring up and at a different time for things that I feel that we should be included in, or,
Right.
stuff like that. But I was wondering if I got the wrong thing in the mail.
No, you got the right thing.
So this is it.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Steve Kinzewski, car equipment.
Hi, Steve.
I support the other guy who was from the East New York,
Right.
100%.
Okay.
The MS1s is not equal. There is a different requirements, different titles. All the MS1 and car equipment can, and some of them try, do pick the job in gauge lab and calibrations, which is required knowledge of science metrology. And that's a very precise, very technical skills. Well, not all of them can pass the test, but most of them do. Now, for that, we should get some kind of compensation. But it seems like for the already 2 contract, the car equipment gets shoved, because the first you brought some of the titles to the MS1s of car equipment, and this contract you brought some other titles, and MS1s and car equipment get nothing.
Right.
Well, we got the jacket. Actually, the jacket is great, but I don't think many people is gonna wear them because they are gonna afraid to wear.
Okay, well, Steve, at the end of the day, I was in consultation with your vice president of the department who also said that you wanted jackets. So we did that. And listen, regarding all car equipment, I hear you. I've always heard you. And believe me, next year is contract negotiations again. We will have a proposal meeting, and you could present all the proposals you need to present. And we will negotiate that as well up when we go for contract negotiations again next year. So that's what I could say, okay?
Okay, but there is a reason why, I don't know whether you notice this or not, in car equipment, the transit has a very hard time finding enough people to be hired as the car inspectors. Because the requirements are enormous, the pay is very little. And from the car inspectors, you get the MS1s. Now they have a problem of hiring the MS1s.
I understand that. I understand, and then, I'm not here to discuss, how the department hires or not hires their employees, and I can't tell them how to hire their employees. All right?
I understand that, but maybe the management had to start thinking, maybe there is something wrong with the pay grade or the requirements, because in order to run these trains, in order to repair them, you need to have certain skills.
Yes.
You cannot get just anybody from the street and say, oh, you know what, come over here.
Steve, I understand that you have special skills. I respect that. I've said that today. I said it all day. I understand that. Okay? Thank you very much.
All right.
Hi, good afternoon, TSS Riles, supervisor in the Sub-C division. How you doing today?
How you doing, brother?
Couple of things. Thank you much. So first thing first, just to piggyback off one of the union members mentioned about the wage progression and how it affect new supervisors.
Yeah.
A couple of us had this idea, or maybe a suggestion, where new supervisors will start at a reduced rate of pay once they finish probation, they shoot the top pay. How you feel about that?
Oh, listen, I was a new supervisor back in my day, and I came on, and we had 3 years wage progression at 85% for 3 years with no increases, right? That's what I came under. And, you know, of course, I am definitely looking to do something with the wage progression, but I said today, and I think I said it earlier, other labor leaders are being involved with this, because it's not just us. It's a wage progression problem across the board. But it really affects supervisor unions, which is only 2 of us and TSO. I feel that after you do your 5 years or 3 years wage progression in the hourly union and you get promoted to supervisor, at the most, you should spend 1 year before you reach top salary.
Agreed.
After you pass probation, you should get the salary. Now, we used to have that, by the way. Unfortunately, prior presidents than me gave that away. And whatever they did, the reason why they did what they did, pattern bargaining, all this other crap that comes into play. But no, without a doubt, I definitely am looking towards doing something like that.
Copy. Now, my original question, though, is a lot of unions like DC 37 got about 16% for 5 years. NYPD got what they got.
Okay. I was waiting for that question.
And to add with that, the nurses got 19% for 3 years.
All right.
So now with cost of living being roughly 16, 17%,
right,
and us getting 9%, 9.5.
Right. Cost of living in the country is about 6 and change, 6%. Living in New York City is somewhere in the neighborhood of 13, 14% cost of living. Okay? But let me outline something. When we compare ourselves to city unions, we can't. We're not a city union, we're a state union. Okay? City unions, how this works, see, the PBA got an 8-year contract. What people don't understand with this 8-year contract that they got for 28%, right?
It's not all pay. I'm aware of that.
Okay, it's, the PBA had the 3-year contract originally that they had to negotiate, and then the additional 5 years, which made it 8 years. So it's actually 2 contracts for that whole 28%. Plus, what the PBA and the uniformed unions have is what is called a 1% value thing, where in other words, their raises include a 1% increase, okay? Which people don't know. They don't tell you that. So their actual raise may be 24%, but being that they have this 1% increase brings them to 28%. Now, what I'm going to say to you is this. If you take the 8-year contract that the PBA just signed, right, 8 years, and you break it down, 48 months and 48 months, and you break down the 28%, they got a 14% raise for 48 months. And they're police officers, right? We got a 9.5% raise for 48 months, okay? We're not too far off, right? So when we talk about that, as far as nurses, listen, we saw what nurses and doctors went through during COVID, right? I wouldn't want to be a nurse that went through all that, right? But whatever they get, God bless them. City unions don't pertain to us. We don't pattern from city unions, and we're a state union.
And here's my final thing.
Yeah.
I know it's my last one. Real short. I understand.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. How you doing, Mike?
What's up, Wolf?
Good evening, all. I don't think I really need a mic, but anyway, I just want to talk about basically unity. We got as far, and every year in and year out, as far as the departments are concerned, with your membership, I know you guys are striving for more unity. But I'm going to tell you, if you want to strive for more unity, I'm going to use, I'm a dispatcher with the Department of Buses a long time, and the one thing is, the work locations, you got to make them kind of even. I know this is about contract, but we need to introduce work hours at different locations. We have different operations from the road to the command center to the depots, and they have different total hours. You need to be at least similar, very similar. And it should be an introduction to the membership, because we did vote you guys in, and we know, and you said it to us, you guys do work for us, okay? And it has to be introduced that the membership needs to know why are certain divisions with certain hours. We're very capable. This is TA. We're very capable of working different hours. And that's one of the things, once we have that meeting, we can talk about the topics. I know this is about contract. And the other thing is, I know Carmen was up here from 126th Street because I
Right.
was formerly from 126. The one thing I do know is, you talk about unity, these dispatchers there, they talk about how they are left out. They paying their dues, they are left out of issues in Brooklyn, working in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Because they want to work in Manhattan, but there's nothing happening.
Right.
So you represent Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and of course, all the RTO and all that stuff.
Right.
I'm just talking about, I think our membership, our buses, Department of Buses, we need to have a meeting and introduce about certain work rules, and not just the rules, the hours.
Right.
And in general.
Okay,
And we need
your
to do
vice
that.
president is here, and he's here
Right.
loud and clear.
And well, we've talked.
Okay.
And he's told me about certain decisions. I said, but you need to present this to the membership, and
All
we
right.
need to have a
Not
meeting.
not
All
thank
right?
you, Wilf, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
All right, from Car Equipment,
How
my
are
name is
you?
Lawrence Seeley.
How you doing,
Mr.
Rob?
Karubi.
How are you?
Okay, retroactive pay does not make us 100% whole, okay? What I expect you to do is deal with other unions and get to the point where we wind up with a default anniversary raise, all right? Going 3 years, 4 years without a raise is crazy. It needs to end. It needs to be done over with for every union in this city. And I would like you to take the lead on that.
A default annual rate, when you
On
say
your
that, what do you mean by
anniversary
that?
date of your raise,
Right.
you guys figure out a default rate. If you don't have a memorandum of understanding, we still get a goddamn raise.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
All right.
I understand what you're talking about. You
There
know-
should be no year, there should be no anniversary date that we don't get something in our paychecks. All right? So I expect you to take the lead, bring everybody else on board. TWU, I think that's the closest contract. Get with them. It needs to end.
Thank you.
I'm a little vertically challenged, but all right.
That's okay.
Ebony Stewart, dispatcher.
Ebony, how you doing?
I'm good. All right, two things.
Okay.
First thing I'm gonna say is, I think that you guys need to figure out a way to put in place a penalty for every year that TA makes us hold up our contract. Because the problem is, there's no consequence. That's why we could go 4, 5, 6 years behind in a contract. When I went to ATD, we were 6 years behind in our contract, which meant I was supervising hourlies who made more than I did.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that they will even listen to somebody who's not even on the same level as they are. I think that we need to come up with a penalty so that they could stop stretching our contract 4, 5, 6 years back. That's the problem. Then we end up on contracts on top of contracts.
Right.
See, if there was a penalty, they would get with the program quicker. So I think we need to put something like that in place. I don't know how y'all figure that out, but they make us wait and they penalize us for everything. So I think we need to start coming up with penalties for TA where we get something back
Right.
for waiting. Just like there's interest built in a bank, we deserve interest for waiting all this time. This is ridiculous. It's
I
unnecessary. So that was the first thing I
Right.
wanted to say. Second thing I wanted to ask is, where are we with the dental and vision options? Because the last contract, the last thing that we were hearing in our meetings was that, they were working on getting new vendors and stuff. We haven't heard any more about it,
Okay,
so I was just
hold on.
curious about it.
The last contract, we have. Cigna is our new dental, and iMed is our new, is our optical. The
Okay,
dental
so
and
that's pretty much,
That's it. We got the
Okay.
lifetime, forgive me. We got the 100% implants with the Cigna and all that stuff. The iMed changed, so we don't no longer have CVS or GVS, it was called. We no longer have that. That's been changed for a few years now.
Okay.
Okay?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, Ebony. What?
No problem, no problem.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Please, if we could just keep
No
it to
problem,
one, because
no
we gotta, they're gonna throw
No
us out.
problem. Good evening. Just want to say thank you to all the members who showed up. Thank you, members for the past, the present, and the future. My name is TSS Alberto Pena. First year TSS. So my biggest gripe, like many others, is the progression pay
Right.
scale, right? I know we have to deal with 5 years. So what? If it's 5 years, it's 5 years. I would like it to be one, just like you said,
Yeah.
but it's 5 years. I got to deal with that, right?
Right.
But we start off at 80, 81%, and then 81%,
Right.
and we deal with that till we get to the very end. So that's kind of tough to deal
Yeah.
with. So I would like to see something going forward in the future to maybe address those issues.
Definitely, without a doubt. Let me just, not cutting you off, paying you. I said earlier that we had to put that system in place in RTO because of the old system that was broken. Unfortunately, the percentages were changed, but the plan is definitely to try to eliminate this.
So
and get
better
it changed.
percentages. If
Well,
it has,
I'm looking to get rid of it.
get rid
All
of
right,
it,
you know, if
great.
I can.
But
So-
if you can't get
Yeah.
rid of it, better percentages.
Better percentages, without a doubt.
Last thing, thank you guys for your hard work and delivering a contract.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, Jason Wang from RTO. I just want a clarification on the provisional. So you said that we've had this thing since 1990, and you guys kept losing every court case you had. So shouldn't that mean that all provisionals since 1990 should have their seniority?
Well,
from that?
We just memorialized it in the contract. When I say we lost, we were in court because other members sued us saying that their list number should have counted as opposed to provisional. So we've lost those decisions on the 1990 decision, right? So, like I said, every department did it differently over the years. So we can't go back and redo that because there's too many moving parts. It's chaotic. So you have to go moving forward. That's how it's done in the contract. We can't go back 20, 30 years and try to fix something. It would never, ever happen. Because, like I said, every department did it differently. Some departments honored seniority with provisional time. Some departments did not. And it worked for those departments over the years until we started to get sued.
Okay.
So, moving forward. That's
All right.
it.
All right, thank you.
Beautiful.
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
I'm good. Keisha Fergus, RTO.
Beautiful. How you doing, Keish?
I realize that the majority of us that are unhappy with the contract are unhappy with the raises.
Right.
I heard you in the beginning saying this is not our COVID contract, and that the next one would be. I also understand that we do patent bargaining
Right.
behind TWU.
Right.
I'm thinking maybe you all should collabo, like really. Since they in now, doing whatever negotiation they doing, maybe there should be some type of input to make sure that when they go in first, they get something, as opposed to getting nothing, and then we get stuck getting nothing behind them again.
Right. I discussed this today, the early AM meeting. I think I said a little bit before. TW don't really have any love for supervisors. And the funny part of it is the other supervisor union, the TSO, they are part of TW International.
But as we all have a love for money,
Yes, we
and
all
we
have a
all
love
getting
for
the
money.
shitty end of the stick from transit.
Listen, let me tell you something what people don't understand. What I get you as a member, I get the same in the union. So if I can get 3 5s or 4 5s, I'd be very happy because that increases my salary as well.
Understood, but
Yeah.
we're still relying on what they get
100%.
first.
Yeah.
So somehow, while they're in the beginning part, somehow there has to be some type of push in their back to make sure they don't just accept twos or whatever.
I could tell you something, Keisha. I did try to reach somebody in the TW to find out what type of raises they were asking for, and we have not gotten any information back on them. And I got news for you. Another hourly union, ATU 726 in Queens, who actually negotiates with TW, don't even know what TW is asking for. So TW is very tight-lipped.
So are we still going to be stuck next time? Because even
Well,
though you
we're
said
gonna-
today,
we're going to find out soon as to what they're really asking for. And if the raises are very low, we could probably push them and say, listen, you need to ask for further. But the TW president could tell us to pretty much to go F ourselves, right?
and if they do, then we'll be stuck with.
Then we have to look at what's going to happen next year during contract negotiations. At least we'd be walking in knowing that that's what the raises could be, right? And we would have to figure out the pieces of the puzzle after that. That's the best I could say to you. Because anything else I say to you is really a lie. They'd be lying to you. It wouldn't be true.
All right.
Thank you.
Just one more.
One more?
One more.
Good evening,
Yeah,
good
I got this
afternoon,
one
everyone. MS1 Hewitt Track, maintenance away.
How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. I'm gonna make it brief. I'm not gonna stretch it out too much. I know
No,
it's the
that's
end.
okay.
You guys want to wrap it up, but I'm curious about the vacation progressions. Right, when I first started, it was 3 years. You get 4 weeks, and then after 15, you get the 5 weeks.
Right. Right.
You know, I'd hoped and I would like that some discussion be made on that in the next round of negotiations, right? That's one thing. And we also, for us, we're looking at a more accessible way to view your timekeeping, i.e. specifically maybe on the VSC, because, you know, when you're putting away time, OTO, vacation time, sick time, you kind of know where you're at.
Right.
Particularly if you're working consistently some kind of overtime, you want to know, you know, what your bank looks like without having to go to timekeeping every time you want to check.
Right.
Because, you know, it gets annoying and they don't want to always answer your questions and you need a little bit of transparency in that.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
All right, and the longevity pay, because I'm someone that's approaching like maybe like my first round of it soon. We need that to be addressed a little better. Yeah, I know there's something in this MOU about it with a little step up in the longevity pay, but, you know.
You want more money, that's what you're saying.
Eventually, yes. For,
of course, because I want it too.
15, 20, 25, 30 years of service, absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
sure.
And I know we just, the vision was mentioned.
Yes.
Somebody like me, I need something with the vision. I can't see. Come on, man.
I got you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank
you
you.
so
Appreciate
much.
you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion closed. Thank you all.
I feel like Sandman to get the hook. Killing me, man.